Justice and Development Party in Turkey presses ahead in supporting terrorism as dictated by the United States. The Georgian Prime Minister admits that his government is unable to curb the process of recruiting and sending terrorists to Syria to join the armed terrorist groups. And a terrorist who was released by the United States from Guantanamo prison in 2006 has sent at least 2,500 jihadists from Saudi Arabia and from Yemen to join the terrorist organizations in Syria. Good afternoon, this is news in English from the Syrian television in Damascus. Foreign and Expatriates Ministry in the Syrian Arab Republic stressed Syria's readiness to participate in Moscow's consultative meeting and its keenness to meet the Syrians' aspirations of finding a way out of the crisis, a source at the ministry announced today. The source affirmed that there are ongoing deliberations between Syria and Russia to hold a preparatory consultative meeting in Moscow that aims at coming to agree on convening a conference for dialogue among the Syrians without any foreign interference, while stressing its care to find an exit from the crisis. Syria affirms that it will proceed with fighting terrorism wherever and whenever it is needed on Syrian territories. The source said, parallel to that, we will be pursuing work on local reconciliation which have proved useful in more than one incident, the source added. The Foreign Ministry's source made it clear that Syria has always been and still is ready for dialogue with whoever believes in Syria's unity, territorial integrity, sovereignty and independent decision according to the Syrian people's will and in fulfillment of their aspirations for security, stability and halting bloodshed. In our field developments, in Qunaitra countryside, units of the Syrian Arab Army eliminated numbers of terrorists, including terrorist leader Mashara, down a day after confronting the terrorists who have been trying to sneak into Tel Bazaq and Tel Krum, killing numbers of them and injuring others. Going to Iraq, army units there took 3 areas south of Tikrit from IS terrorist organization in SalahEddin governorate. According to security sources in the city, the army units have freed a number of areas after killing and injuring dozens of terrorists, as the operation of gaining control over Diyala area has just started, while the army has arrived at the outskirts of Ad-Dulayla airport. The Foreign Minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, stressed the need to put an end for ISIS organizations spreading over wide areas in Syria and Iraq. During an interview with the Russian newspaper Kommersant, Lavrov talked about information showing that the ISIS existed north of Afghanistan, which means that they are very close to Central Asia or the Russian borders, warning that the information that has referred before using chemical weapons by ISIS terrorists. A terror leader whom the United States released from the Guantanamo prison in 2006 has sent at least 2,500 jihadists from Saudi Arabia and some from Yemen to join the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria ISIS, according to a highly placed Pentagon source. Ibrahim al-Rubayh, now the spiritual leader of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, was captured by American troops in 2001 and spent 5 years at Guantanamo Bay before the United States administration released him into Saudi custody. An unidentified Department of Defense official told the Daily Mail that 2,500 is a conservative estimate, stressing that there are no doubt that he has been sending fighters. Al-Rubayh was let go from Guantanamo in 2006 along with 16 other prisoners and quickly returned to Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, becoming a spiritual leader, and he is now recruiting for ISIS. The ruling party in Turkey, the Justice and Development Party, continues to play a sensitive role in supporting terrorism as requested by the West. More in the following.
All people know that the Justice and Development Party has close relations with the terrorism in the region and the main sponsor of it. Turkey and the Turkish people will pay the price, and this is what happened in Al-Rihani explosions. The Justice Party is the manufacturer of the US in all the policies of this government do not represent the Turkish people, but they reflect the policy of the White House only. Terrorism is the only commodity being exported by Turkey to neighboring states. Terrorism is still continuous in Syria and Iraq because of the support offered by the Justice and Development Party. There is no policy for the Justice and Development Party in the region. What we witness is an implementation of the Western American dictations. In the past, we used to exchange goods with our neighbors, but now we only export terrorism, and because of this government, we have become enemy with all neighboring states.
SalahEddin Demirtas, leader of the People's Democratic Party, HDP, member of the Turkish parliament, said the party stands firmly against external interference in Syria's domestic affairs.
In an interview given to a news correspondent in Moscow, Demirtas criticized the Turkish government of the Justice and Development Party under President Recep Tayyip Erdogan for not having taken enough measures to prevent terrorist organizations' passage into Syria across the Turkish border. He added that was it not for this position by the Turkish government, the terrorist organization of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS, wouldn't have grown in power in Syria and the region. Demirtas also said that the Turkish government has so far not engaged sincerely in the process of fighting terrorism, including the ISIS, stressing that his party's criticism will continue in order to come to an end to the Turkish government's acts.
The Georgian Prime Minister admitted that his country was unable to control the process of recruiting and sending terrorists to Syria to join the armed terrorist groups operating there. He added that there are terrorists coming from Syria from various parts of the world, and Georgia is not an exception. Earlier, Georgian mass media unveiled that at least 8 Georgian terrorists were killed in Syria this year. In appreciation for the sacrifices of the Syrian Arab Army, Santa Claus symbolically offers gifts and joy to Syrian children.
Santa Claus came this year on a policeman's bicycle, bringing to the Syrian children the gifts they wished for, particularly security in their beloved homeland. Over the last 4 years, Christmas celebrations in Syria were restricted to prayers for peace and security, without decorations or other features of joy, as the country was passing through a very hard ordeal. But this year, some celebrations were organized in some parts of the country, including kindergartens in Damascus countryside, bringing hope to the beloved children who are the representatives of peace and love.
We hope the year 2015 will be full of love, cohesion and unity, so that you can rally around peace and goodness. We've wanted to celebrate with the children in the kindergarten, and we dedicate children's joy to our leader and to our Syrian Arab Army, asserting that we are united people, so neither religion nor sectarianism can separate us.
Aren't we all Syrians, Muslims or Christian, pray for this every day, for forgiveness and peace? Now, this is what we are targeted for. This is why the unity of Syrians. We don't ask what's your religion or where are you from. This unity is what makes us unique and make us targeted. But no one can take this from us.
At Christmas, Syrian people from all walks of life stand together, praying to God to restore security and stability to their beloved country.
And with this we conclude. Christian denominations Al-Qalamun in Damascus countryside also celebrated Christmas with prayers and religious masses at churches. Their sermons underlined the Syrians' steadfastness in face of terrorism and their unity in face of conspiracies. They also underlined the message of love conveyed by Jesus Christ, affirming that the Syrians are advocates of peace, good elimination, and Syria's strength lies in its people cohesion.
I want to send a message from this place in which we are in Syria, to say to all the world that we here in Syria is the land of peace, the land of charity, the land where we live together, Islam and Christian, we live together in an atmosphere full of love and respect.
With this we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, www.syriaonline.sy. Now the latest business and market news with Nariman, but after a short break.